Bahudo.
All right, so here we're going to create our table. So after making sure that you have initialized the table, as how I've showed you in this method, this is how we initialize the table by providing the table path and then the version of the table. So this will be returning what? A table that I've just initialized. So after making sure that you have initialized the table, the next thing that we're going to do, the database, the next thing we're going to do is now to initialize the table itself, or we shall be saving these particular records. So this table is just going to be within this method of what? Of logged in user. So to do that, I'm going to create a method of this kind. So I'll go ahead and just copy one by one as I'm explaining everything. So I'll come here and just call this method init table. So since we already have database initialized, so we can give it the DB. So let's accept a DB. So it will be accepting a database. So here I'll be passing what? DB. Okay, so after doing that, the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to check if the database is opened. If it's not open, we'll send back false. So this is going to be future. Maybe you can say it will turn bool for success, and for fail it returns false. So you go ahead and say if DB is not initialized, return false. So maybe it did not succeed in what? In creating the table. So after doing that, the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to create a table that is going to an SQL that will create a what? That will initialize a table. So our SQL, okay, so the main purpose of this is to initialize the table of this, what shall be saving the logged in user. So all right, so now let's go ahead and do what? And create what? An SQL. So SQL, it's going to be a string of SQL, which is going to be so it's going to be SQL equals to, and then you put there create table if not exist, and then primary key is going to be an ID, an integer, and then we put username, and just get these values that are here. All right, all these values, and make sure that they are in a table. So let's go ahead and paste them there very fast. So I'll just comment them here, all are variables. So you see how I'm creating this table. Let me put here semicolon so you can understand. It is create table if not exist, then this table we are going to call it users. So we can have here a variable called table name. Okay, we can have a variable called table name. So we use this variable to make sure that the table name is just constant and defined somewhere. So you can put here some on top here a variable called table name. For this case, you can call this one maybe logged in user. Okay, that is how you can call this table. Okay, so after we define there the variable, so we come back to our SQL, which states SQL equals to create table if not exist, and then here we pass the variable. Okay, so after doing that, then we say ID is equal to integer, and then it's a primary key. Then we put a comma here. Okay, so I put a comma here. You can as well put here in front. Okay, but my design, I just always put it here so I can be able to duplicate my lines. Okay, so without any problem. So the first thing is the username. Okay, let me just remove this so it can be just there at last. So the first thing is username. Okay, so the next thing, so I remove this one. I put all the variables here. I put them here in some comment. So the next thing is going to be password. So I'll come here and duplicate this and put password, and the next thing is going to be the name. So I come here and duplicate and put the name, then put the avatar, and then put the remember token, and then put the created art, and then put the updated art, and then put the company ID. So all of them I'm making them text. I don't want to complicate life. And then put here the first name, and then put here the last name. Can remove this one that I've finished, and then put here the phone number, and then put here the phone number too if it's there, and then put here the address, and then put there the sex, and then I can remove this, and then put here the DOB, and then put here the status. Okay, and then put the email. All right, so that is our database creation. Okay, so that is our table creation. So I put also the bracket that close, of course. Okay, here at last, like this. Okay, so you can see, let us revise our SQL properly again. Create table if not exist, and then we put there the table name. So open curly bracket and close it here. So it's ID is equal to integer primary key. I'm not making it auto increment because it's an ID that will be coming from internet, so I don't need to manipulate it myself, so I have to make it to primary key. User, everything that you see there, it is just nothing but a string, and then I make sure that I put here my last comma. I don't make sure that there's no comma at the end, and then I close this bracket that I opened here. So that is our SQL for creating a table. The next thing that we're going to do right now is now to do what? Is now to run that SQL. Okay, it's not to run that SQL. Okay, where are we? We're in init table here. Okay, so we're going to try to run that SQL. So to run the SQL, which I just simply write, I want to put it on between try. I go ahead and say await db.execute. Remember, I have here the database, so I say db.execute. Let me put here some variable, a boolean that you're going to call is success, and by default it's going to be what? False. Okay, so we come back here, we just write try and catch. So you just write try and catch. So inside the try you put the db.what.execute, and then you pass the SQL. So if it reaches here, we make the is successful true. So if it fails, we go ahead and do what, and let's make this one a string. By the way, I'm going to show you the technique that I'm going to use. Let's make this one a string. This one is string. Let it return a string. So if it is successful, we shall return an empty string. If it does not, if it does not succeed, then we shall return an error as it's explained. So you can return here failed to open what? The database. So there we shall return this. So let's remove this. So in case it is successful, so we're going to return an empty error, an empty array. Okay, so if it is successful, we are returning an empty string. So if it is not successful, we are going to do what? To return, we return the error. So it's a failed to create database, and then here we say a.string. So you get here some reason, and that's what you return. So on the other side, we shall just be waiting. So if it returns an empty thing, then we know it was successful. If it failed to create the database, to return something that failed, and then you shall know that it shall not return an empty string, and then shall know something went wrong. Alright, so that's the technique that shall use to create a database, I mean the table. So you can pause the video and look at this very carefully so you can understand it. Alright, so let's come back here. Await init table, and then you put db like that. So after doing that, after making sure that it executes it, here let's go back here. We are still on save. Okay, so after making sure that this one has finished, so it means that when we are waiting here, we have to just wait, like just put here some string. Maybe I can say table results equals to await, and then we initialize the table like this. Okay, so if it is not successful, If it is not empty, I return back whatever has failed. So this, whoever will call this guy of saving, you'll also wait and see if they are sending him back the empty string. If they don't send him back the empty string, we shall know something went wrong, and that's what we shall display. So that's a technique that I'm showing you. So here I'm checking if the response that is coming from the table that is initializing, if it is not empty, I return from there, so I know that something did not go right. All right, so proceed. So after init, so the next thing you're going to now do what? To insert into the database. However, according to our logic, when we are saving, it will be good that we first delete. We first delete whatever is there, because it will only be one user who is logged in. So it will be a good idea to first delete whatever is there, and then we insert the new data. Okay, so let's work on the logic of deleting all. So to delete all, we're going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to put here some static function here. I'm going to call it delete all. Okay, I'm going to call it delete all. Okay, so I initialize the database. If the database is okay, I check if the database is open. After, I go ahead and delete. I say await db.delete. So this small simple function that I've created here, it will be able to delete everything for us. So I'll come back to our saving. So here, after we have initialized the table properly, we have initialized the database properly, we initialized the table properly, it has no error, then we shall go ahead and delete everything that is in this table. Okay, then after deleting everything, then we're going to do what? To insert the user who is logged in. Okay, so this is how you insert the user. You just simply say okay, so to insert the user, you just simply say db.insert, and then you put the table name, and then you put .to.json, and then you put the algorithm. So this is what I've done here. So I just simply say, so to insert the user, I surround it with the try and catch, and say db.insert. Okay, so after deleting everything, let me even put here await, by the way, because it may take time. So let's put here some future static. So it's going to be static. We begin with add future, we begin with future static. Future static void. Okay, to not return anything, but it may take time. You see it already have a wait here. So you have to wait for everything to delete. Okay, so after making sure that everything is deleted, then you say db.insert, and then you put the table name, and then you put the to JSON. So this to JSON, you should have created it. I think we created it previous time, where we convert the data of the user, of the object to JSON, as you can see here. Then here it is delete all. Okay, then you say delete all. Okay, sorry. Okay, then you say db.insert, and then you put table name, which is a constant that we define there, and then you put the to JSON. So it will convert to JSON and decide those things. So you can go ahead and specify the algorithm. So you say conflict algorithm, then you can put, for example, replace. So in case it finds another record, it will replace there. However, this is now necessary, because on top there we've already deleted what? We've already deleted everything. So you can even get rid of this algorithm. So if it successfully execute, it will be able to reach this line. We shall return empty. If it fails, then we shall know that something not go right. We shall return an error. So when we are calling this method, we shall go ahead and wait for it to return for us something. And if everything is okay, we know that everything, it will return empty string. If it is it's not okay, to return back whatever this data. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and save. So I'll come back to our registration screen. So this is a place. So if the ID is greater than 0, I'll go ahead and save. Okay, so I say maybe string saving response equals to await user dot save. Okay, so let me go ahead and put whatever has come. Let me just go ahead and say put whatever has come. So if it does not return back anything, then we shall know that everything is all right. So let me just put it between these two. Okay, so let me remove this. So if it returns something, then you shall know it will be returning a complaint. So I hope that you've understood it. We are going to go back and re-explain it. So let me come here to console and try to see what is happening. Save. Try to create. Perfect. You see, it is not returning anything. That means that everything is alright. Okay. So let's go ahead and check. So let me go back to what? To the save. Okay, and explain it. So let me explain everything again for one more time. So this is database.init db that we're getting the database. So here we say away.utils.getDB. So if I press Ctrl and click here, you'll see it's nothing but this function that is starting the what? The database. Okay, so after doing that, initializing the database, the next thing we're initializing the table. So you can see here we're giving this table a table name, and then we're expecting a string. So if everything is okay, it should return for us an empty string. If something is all right, it should return for us what went wrong. And then I do that. I create the table by writing this SQL. You can pause the video and look at this SQL. So after initializing the table, the next thing that we're going to do, we are going to db.insert. However, this is a problem. What if the table does not exist? Okay, see, this is some kind of a problem. So I have also here to do some await and init the table because the table might not be existing. Sorry, this init table. Where is it? How do you call it here? Okay, so first initialize table. So you can surround this one between try and catch, by the way, because they may throw an error if they are called first time before the table is created. Okay, so that is it. Okay, so that is it. I think that's it. So you delete the tables. You delete everything in the table if there is a new user that is trying to log in. So because we know that in this table, literally we shall always have only one person who is currently logged in. So that's why we're trying to delete everything before we do what? Before we save their data. So after doing that, okay, the next thing we try and catch, we try to db insert, and then we insert we put the table name and then say put .json. So this one will convert the current object to JSON, and then we put the conflict algorithm, and then we return empty if it reaches here, and then if it is failed, we return an error that failed, like this. So like this, we'll be able to do what? To achieve that. All right, let's go ahead and now do so let's come back to our registration. So this is when you log in. So we shall just simply say if is empty. If it is not empty, we go ahead and display the snack error, and we can even put in the error message. So in case it is not empty, we go ahead and put the error message. So just simply say error message equals that, and then you remember to set state. Okay, so that is how we update. Okay, so that's it. So let's go ahead and put this one now in its right position. So I'll just cut this the way it is here, and then I come and put it down. Okay, and put it down. Okay, so down here. Okay, put it here. Okay, so if id is greater than 0, I think we've already done this one, so I can remove just this here. So you can see I'm just putting it down after in the bottom of submit. Okay, so here I toast. So I check if the response is not null. You see, if the response is not null, I go ahead and display the error, and then I also return from there, because here I'm trying to save is here I'm trying to save. So if the response from the saving is not empty, so if it's not an empty string, I go ahead and display that whatever has come as what, as an error. So that's the technique. So if it is reaches there, I'll know that it's successful. So I'm going to get back the user to the very home page. Okay, I'm going to get back the user to the home page, like to the home page. So that home page is the one that will be working on the logic of seeing the person who is logged in and the one who is logged in, and then it redirects them. So to do this, we just simply do get off all names. Get off all named, and then specify the name. I hope I have in my menu I have the name of home. Let me see if we have the name route. Okay, this is called menu route. Do you have the very main? Let's just call this one menu route. You can call it home. Okay, let's call it menu route. Okay, so you can have even the splash screen, the screen that will be checking if someone is logged in or not. Okay, should we create now? Alright, we shall change this menu route to that. So let's say maybe call it main route instead of menu route. Okay, so let's just call it menu route. You can change later. Okay, so I'll come here and put, you should go to menu route. So it should start. So you put get off all, so the user should not be able to do what? To come back this screen. Get off all named. So your named should also be existing in the main under routes like this. You should have your class should be able to be registered here. You should have a class registered here under routes in order for you to reference it here. I hope you can see that. You can pause the video and see that. All right, so that's it. Let's go ahead and try to register now. Of course, the email already registered. Let's put now number 2. Everything should be fine. Create an account. You see, welcome, the name of the person. Welcome, the name of the person. Okay, so that gives us an assurance that we have logged in a user. So you can even test by trying to fetch this user from what? From the database. Okay, for example, you may do the logic of saying that if the user is logged in, they should not access the registration screen. Okay, so you can do that as well. All right, so the registration screen is done. Let's proceed to the login screen without wasting time. Okay, so I'll proceed to the login screen. I'll go ahead and duplicate this main screen, registration screen. I'll just duplicate it, and then I just change this one to login screen. I just copy and paste it. That's what I did. Then I come here, press all of them, I say Ctrl F. Okay, just select all of them, say Ctrl F, Alt and Enter, then paste there your new class name. You see, Alt and Enter like that. Then you'll be able to multi-edit. Okay, so let's add this to our home menu. Okay, so we shall come to our main menu. Where is it? We are first doing everything, then we shall connect them all at once. I think that's a good approach. So main menu, let us put here on top here. Login screen. There you go. All right. So now when someone clicks here, they should be able to be taken to the login screen. All right. So though we did not design this thing properly, it's not telling us whether we are logging in or we are registering. That's not a very good design for sure, but you can improve it. All right. So let's go to the login screen. Sorry, we had put here the long screen. It's supposed to be login screen like this. Let's come back. Okay, so save login screen. There we go. So I'll go ahead and put first name. So where there is first name, I'll just search it. I'm going to remove those ones. So let's just do something simple that shows that someone is logging in. I don't know whether I should put it on be below the icon. Let's put it here. Just some fx text. Yes, sorry, let me just use some text. Okay, and then say login like this. Okay, let's put just some sized height like this, login, just like simple like that, so someone should know what they are doing on that page. Let's do it on a registration screen as well to avoid confusion. So come where there is what, where there is a logo, and then we add register below the logo. Okay, so say maybe create account like this, so someone should know what they are doing. So come back to the login logic. So we're going to remove almost everything. We're just going to leave the email and the what and the password. So let's start removing. First name, remove. Last name, remove. Email address, leave. Phone number, we remove. Shall be logging using the email only. Company name, remove. It's the login screen. And then we have currency that shall be using in this company, we leave that. And then the password of that one will be required. So if I save, that is a simple login screen. So instead of putting here create account, I'm going to put here login. Let's put login as simple as that. All right, so there we go. So now in the section of so this is validation. It can help us on validation, of course. Yeah, so let's go ahead and validate. We remove things that we don't need in validation. Click here. So first name, we don't need it. Last name, we don't need it. Just need password and email. Okay, so email is okay. Phone number, we don't need it. Okay, and then password, we need it. So okay, so we are here in validate. Where is it? In the validate. So it will first validate for us the username and password, and then after it calls the submit button, the submit function. So in submit, we're just going to submit two things, email and password. So let's remove what we don't need. We'll remove what we don't need. First of all, let's go to let's first remove what you don't need. So company ID, whatever currency, we don't need those things. So what we're going to submit, we're going to submit just username and password. Okay, so do you have username? Yeah, okay, so we're going to go ahead and let's see how we collect the username. Okay, so here you're collecting them by adding them to this user object. Okay, so that is okay. Let's go back. So here, instead of just passing the whole of it, you can as well just pass what they need. Okay, which is email and password. So let's check the naming conversion in okay, in Postman. Here's Postman. So inverter track, where is it? Inverter track online. So how do you log in? So I'll make this to be active. Then come, how do you log in? Authentication. We log in by providing what? By providing email and password as they are stated. Okay, so also going to log in by providing email and password as they are stated here. That is very good. So now everything is all right, so we can just pause the video and look at things very carefully. You see, everything is all right. We can even remove this, we don't need it. So just pass the username. So the only thing that's remaining is now to put the correct URL of login, which is stroke auth stroke login, like this. Okay, so everything is all right. So it's almost pretty same. So here everything is okay. So everything is okay. Check the errors, check the codes. Now we already discussed all these. So let's see. First comment before they redirect me, so I can first comment. Always do that before they redirect you. So I save. So I come here and put John at gmail.com. John Black. Let's try John, and then password is 4321. Click login. You see, welcome John. So it means that I have successfully logged in someone. I hope you can see that. Okay, so it has successfully logged in someone. Get the information of someone. So I'll just go ahead and remove this comment, so it can be okay. So I'll remove the comment so it can be able to start immediately after someone logs in. So here I saved the user. You see all these things, I've saved the user, right? So I've saved your time and things that you'd be doing in that time. So if I go ahead and click on login, let's try now. If I click on login, set a process, and then boom, it will bring me back to the home page, meaning that we have also finished implementing the login screen. All right, in the next lecture, we are now going to dive deeper. How do you manage the logged in user? How do you update them now? What can they do in the system, and the different roles that are going to do in the system? So that in the next lecture, that's what we're going to begin from now, adding the real stock up to the rest of the project. So make sure that you don't give up. Make sure that you don't miss the classes. See you in the next lecture, where we're going to make it much more interesting by making it interacting with the web. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. See you in the next lecture. Goodbye. So smile.
Yes, sir.
No,
I'm good. How are you doing?
ndi bulungi.
Eh?
Ndi bulungi.
Hey, that's very, very, very nice.
Hmm.
Yep.
Are you sure?
Wabula kyana ggwe
Kyana ki?
kiggwe
Ndi kyana.
ekikusomesa
Goli mwana.
ekisomesa
Goli mwana.
wabula kisomesa ggwe
Ndi mwana